Hey there, YouTube friends. My wife and I recently sold our home, and we did everything ourselves from start to finish, including the contract. So while we're in transit to our next destination and staying at a hotel tonight, I figured I'd do a video to offer some tips on how you can sell your house yourself. And I got a lot of good information for you. I won't spare any details. Now, full disclosure, I am not a lawyer. This is by no means legal advice. I'm just giving you our experience on how we did it ourselves and offering some tips that I think will be very useful to you. Now, for starters, what's the best reason to sell your house yourself? Well, you'll be saving a lot of money in a real estate commission. So if you were to use a real estate agent to sell your house, and let's say your house is $100,000, you're probably going to be paying a 6% commission, which would be about $6,000. Bump that up to a $200,000 house, a 6% commission is going to be $12,000. So you could save a lot of money by doing it yourself. And as I said, it's not that difficult. It's not rocket science. If we can do it, you can do it too. Now, the first thing you have to do is you have to see if your state allows you to sell your house yourself. Each state has different rules and regulations. And in the state of Florida, where we were able to do everything from start to finish. We did use a title company, because you'd have to use a title company to change possession of property. No matter where you are, you're either going to use a title company or an attorney. But the first step you have to do is you have to do a little research and see if you are able to sell your house in your state by yourself. That's the first thing you have to do. Once you have that established, you have to set a price that you think you can get for your home. You could ask anything. You could have a $100,000 house and ask $500,000. There's nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't mean that you're going to get it. If you're really interested in selling your house, see what the comparables are in your neighborhood. And let's say your house is $200,000. You might want to price it at $215,000. This way you can come down a little bit and there's room for negotiation. So if $200,000 is your target price, set it around $210,000 or $215,000 so you have room to negotiate. And don't forget, when it comes time to close on a house, you're going to owe closing costs, and that can run into the thousands of dollars. So consider that when you're setting your price. Once you have that established, you have to prep your house. You know, you don't want a lot of clutter when you bring people into your home. You want to feel like there's a flow to your home. There's not a lot of clutter. Make it as roomy as possible, and put your house in its best light. So put the clutter away. Make sure things work. Keep the yard nice. It's all about curb appeal. All right. So once you have your price set and once you have your house prepped, now it comes time to list your house. So now how can you list your house? Well, there's a website called Zillow, and Zillow is the go-to for home buyers and sellers. So you could list your house on Zillow and it won't cost you a dime. And once you're on Zillow, Zillow is also affiliated with Trulia, and your house will also be listed on Trulia. And there's also Craigslist. We use Craigslist as well, and we got quite a few calls from people on Craigslist. So there's three things you could do right there: Zillow, Trulia, and Craigslist. So once you're ready to actually list your house, you have to take pictures of your house. So you want good lighting, you want good pictures. You put as many pictures as you want up there. Show all the good that your house has to offer. And, good pictures, good lighting. Don't use your telephone. Use a regular camera, and that should work out well. Now, once you list on Zillow, the most important thing you need to do is in the description box when you're describing your house, you need to put your contact information in there. At the very least, an email, and also don't use a personal email. Set yourself up with a email specifically just for the sale of your house. So let's say you live in, let's say Portland, Oregon. Just say Portland, Oregon house at msn.com or something like that. And it's important to put that in the description box, first sentence, and I'll tell you why. Because if you don't, Zillow, they have a box. So if a buyer is interested in buying your home, they'll click the contact box. And that contact won't go to you necessarily. It'll go to a bunch of real estate agents. It's a little trickery on Zillow's part, I guess, to keep real estate agents in the loop or give them opportunities or whatever. So very important. I'm like a broken record here, but in the description box, put your contact information, email, phone number, and then describe your house. So that's important that you do that. Now there's going to be about, let's see here, 1, 2, 3. There's going to be about 5 types of people that call you. When they go to Zillow, and if they're interested in your house, you're going to get 5 types of people that call you. The first type of person is going to be a real estate agent, and they're going to solicit you to list with them so they get the full commission. Obviously, that's not why you're doing it yourself, so you politely decline their offer. Then there are going to be real estate agents that contact you that have a buyer interested in your house, and they want to see if you'll work with them, which you can. And I offered to work with some real estate agents, but at a lower commission. Instead of 6%, I'd say 2.5% or 3%. If you bring a client in and they buy the house, I'll give you a 3% commission or 2.5% commission, and you could do that as well. Now, the third type of person that's going to call you are going to be people offering to list your house on an MLS listing, which means the listing goes all over, and they'll say, oh, for $100 we'll put you on the MLS. That's kind of passe. That's like listing your phone number in the yellow pages or the white pages or something like that. It's old school. You really don't need it. Once you're up on Zillow, and truly everybody's going to know your house is for sale, basically. So that would just be a waste of money. I wouldn't recommend doing that. Now, the fourth type of person is going to be scammers. They're going to be fishing for your information. They're not real. They don't even have real phone numbers. And I'm going to tell you how to get around that in a second. So you want to watch out for scammers. And now the fifth type of person that's going to call you is a real buyer. They're really interested in buying your house, and those are the people that you're going to have to weed out, because those are the people that you want. You want to weed out all the bad and get those buyers. Okay, so now what you have to do is, when you're dealing with people, you want to know you're dealing with real people. You want to know they're not trying to scam you or anything like that. So whenever somebody contacts you, get a real phone number and a real email. Now, real email, that's, you could do a little research on emails, but you can do research on phone numbers, so I always advise get a real phone number. And what you can also do is you can go to a website that I found called, let me see here, True People Search. And that's a website where you can do a reverse phone number search. And it's not like they don't ask for money or anything like that. You have to type in the phone number specifically in a specific way. So it would be parentheses, area code, parentheses, and then the first 3 digits, dash, and then the fourth 3 digits. And, just how I showed you right here. Okay. So when people want to see your house, what do you want to do? You want to know that they have the funds available and they're for real. So before you have anybody come to your house, ask for a pre-approval letter for a bank. That'll let you know that they are pre-approved for a mortgage, and you know that they're for real. And if they're cash buyers, ask for proof of funds. They can send you a picture of the balance in their savings account or something like that. Okay, so then you have to show the house. And what's nice about showing the house is you don't have to deal with any real estate agent. You show it yourself. When you want to set it up, there's no middleman. That's the beautiful thing about selling your house yourself. You're doing everything yourself, and you're in control. You don't have to wait for callbacks. You don't have to wait for scheduling. It's all up to you, and that's a positive. It gives you a position of power. So once you show the house, obviously don't leave any valuables around, and don't high pressure anybody. Let the house speak for itself. Let the prospective buyer know what the property taxes are. Give them an idea of what the electric bill is and the water bill is. Show them the outside, and no pressure. Just if they want it, they'll buy it. Okay, so then we get to the point of if a person is interested in buying your house. If a person is interested in buying your house, you can do the contract. It's relatively simple. You could use an as-is contract. And here's an example of the contract that I use in the state of Florida. You see all the asterisks next to the lines, and those are the important lines that need to be filled out. And it's all basically self-explanatory. As I said, if we could do it, you could do it too. And when somebody comes up with an offer, don't be afraid to say no. You know, if they want addendums and they want things fixed, don't be afraid to say no. Just say, no, I'm not doing that. As a matter of fact, the very first person we had come view our home, she wanted to buy our home. And she said, well, she needed help with closing costs. I said, I would consider it, but let me look into it and see how much the closing costs would cost. And in her case, the closing costs could be upwards of $7,000. So I said, no, we won't do that. You know, sorry, but you'll have to look elsewhere. And she went even further, asking, saying, oh, well, how about we raise the price of the house, and then we could take the closing costs out of that, and you'll still get your number. And I said, no. In fact, I gave her a New York no. If you know what a New York no is, it's no, case closed. That's it. Because that is a practice in real estate. If people have problems buying a home and covering the closing costs, they raise the price of the house. So then, you know, the higher the price, the closing costs come from that, and everybody's happy. Me personally, I don't like it. If you know anything about the housing market bubble in 2008, that's what happened, and that's why the housing market went down the tubes, because people didn't want to get any skin in the game. They didn't want to put any, you know, good faith money down, the deposits. They didn't want to do this. They wanted to get something for nothing. So this lady tried to get something for nothing with nothing down. I wouldn't go for it. I waited for the next buyer. The next buyer came along. He was great. You know, he was on the ball. He was serious, and he was wonderful, great guy to work with. And everything went smooth, no glitches, no problems whatsoever. Once you have a buyer interested and you fill out the contract, you're either going to have to set yourself up with a title company or an attorney, depending on what state you're in. In Florida, we used a title company. And again, you have to shop around. The title company that we shopped around with, they were on the ball. They returned all phone calls, all emails, no problems. They were on the ball, and that's what you want. If somebody leaves you hanging, they're not returning your phone calls, they're not returning your emails, that's a red flag not to be bothered with them. So once you have the contract signed and you have a real estate agent, I'm sorry, not a real estate agent, an attorney that's going to do the closing, or a title company, then from there it's just wait to get your check. And in fact, when you get your check, if you do a check, if you don't know what closing is, if you don't, well, let me stop right there. What is a title company going to do, and what is, you know, a closing attorney going to do? We're talking about closing, and closing is where, you know, the buyer gets the keys to the house and the deed, and the seller gets the money, and the closing agent or the title company makes sure that the taxes are paid, any mortgages outstanding are paid. They're like a neutral party that makes sure everybody gets what they're supposed to get. So that's what's going on there. Now, if you're expecting a check or a wire, me personally, I want the check in my hand. You know, they offered to wire the money into our bank account, which is quicker. I really didn't want to be bothered with wires. I wanted the check in hand. As a matter of fact, before I signed anything, I said, let's see the check. Here's the check. Okay, now we can sign. And that's it. But it's a relatively simple process. I think sometimes people are intimidated by it because, you know, they think it's a big, you know, undoable thing that is beyond their, you know, means. But really, it's not. You know, with a little patience and a little, you know, research, you could do it. You know, if we could do it, you could do it. And me personally, I like doing it this way. We've sold houses in the past where we used attorneys and real estate agents, and by far, this was the most pleasant way of doing anything, was doing everything ourselves. It was the least stress, and the most pleasant. And that's it. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. By no means am I a real estate mogul or authority on the subject, but I have sold, me and my wife have sold properties in the past, and this time we did everything ourselves, and it was successful. So I'm sure if we're successful, you could be successful too. And that's it for now. Please subscribe. Maybe I'll see you on the road sometime. See you.